It is Tuesday, and it is the Tile Happy Hour. Welcome. We made it past the holiday. July 4th is come and gone, but we're still celebrating. Because why? We love the tile and stone industry. If you have stumbled across the Tile Happy Hour, you have come to the right place to talk about anything and everything in the tile stone industry. We may even jump into some other subjects because we're here to have fun. And this show is your show. So if you're out there watching, tune in, send us a comment. I can see it live here on this screen right here and this screen right here. But most of all, there's something we've been missing over the last couple of weeks, and that is Mr. John Tedesco. John, where in the world have you been? I'm so glad to see you back. Welcome back to the Tile Happy Hour. Oh, I can't hear you, John. See, that's what you get when you're out of practice. I forgot to unmute your mic.
Wow. I thought it was my tech problem.
No. Wasn't your well, I guess you could have unmuted it yourself, but that's okay. We got you, John. Thanks for jumping back into the show. It is good to see you alive and well. We want the story because last week was a holiday, but week before that, Rick and I were talking, and we seem to have gotten word that you possibly would have been incarcerated, but I'm not sure. There was no confirmation.
Nobody knows. If you hear a beeping noise, it's not my ankle bracelet.
If there's somebody at your window, if I see somebody in the window behind you, it looks like Jack Ryan trying to jump in on you. I'll let you know. I ain't afraid.
All right. Well, I had a good 4th of July. Glad to be back. It was really good to see Rick Crane jump on as co-host.
Yeah, so, he was great.
Big hello to Rick, and thanks for filling in the shoes. Talking about sustainability. That was a really good episode. I'm glad I was able to catch some of it, and glad to be back here. I can't believe it is July, almost the middle of July. It is insane.
You're right. It is. Yesterday, if you're watching, was my 24th wedding anniversary. Happy anniversary, Leanne.
Happy anniversary.
And today is, do you know what episode number?
I'm going to guess 17 or 18.
It is 18. Good 18. Guess. Good guess. All I didn't say it to begin with, but John, cheers. Happy hour.
Cheers to you, and cheers to everyone out there in the tile world.
Tile world. I hope you're having a great summer.
How was your 4th? Did you go down to the shore?
Absolutely. We were at the 4th. It's kind of our family tradition. The 4th of July, we spend it at Ocean Isle Beach. If you're familiar with that, if you're from the South, you may know where that is, but it's kind of right there on the North Carolina, South Carolina border at the beach. And it's a pretty quiet island most of the year, but July 4th is crazy. There was like 1 million people on the island. We thought the island was going to sink, but it did not. I can confirm, if you can tell, my hue is a little redder than normal. That's the Scott Irish in me. Anytime I meet the sun, I turn into a lobster. And that's what we did. The island does a great job. Shout out to Ocean Isle Beach, OIB Kahuna. They do a golf cart 4th of July parade, and people decorate the golf carts as pirate ships, and big fireworks off the pier, and top notch kind of small town feel, even though you're on the island. So it sounds
good.
Great.
The community I used to live in Massapequa, they have a parade. It's a beach club on the South Shore, and I would say, I don't know, quarter a mile or half a mile north of the shore was sort of a main road, and all the kids would assemble at the top of the road, and fire trucks and police, and every kid would decorate their bicycles with flags and streamers, and sure enough, they kicked off the parade, and all the kids would just head down to the beach club, and when we get to the front of the beach club, the fire truck would like let loose and hose everybody down, not directly, like up in the air, and then beach club opened, and everyone would go and have a barbecue, and those are some good times. Actually, I sent a picture to you once.
I know, and I forgot I'd saved it in last week's folder, which is on my hard drive over there. not connected to my computer, I'd pull it up. But yeah, great. Looks like a good time. Now, is it still snowing in New York in July?
Today was pretty freaking hot. It was not. Today was a beach day. I mean, wasn't at the beach. I was in Manhattan today, and busy day at the TileBar showroom. Had some really good appointments, specifiers, tech designers, some factories came in. They were all talking about the heat. But it was a nice day. Really, really, anything's better than the snow, which is good.
That's right. Well, it is summertime, and there's a lot of things that we can discuss summer wise. But if you're watching this and it's not live, we still want to hear from you, whether it's a playback on Twitter, LinkedIn, YouTube, wherever it is. We're taking your questions live right now. But if you're watching on a playback, please put it in the comments. Let us know what questions you have. If you have thoughts about a topic you want to talk about on the tile stone world industry, let us know. We'd be glad to add it into the show. If you're an industry professional and you want to be on the show and interview John and I actually put it out there on LinkedIn today. Send me a message to stump us. And I have not gotten a response yet. So I may need to check it while we're
all right. So I'm going to stump you now. So today is national. Which one of these 3 days is not correct for today? Because as you know, there's many topics that are national days. So either National Seagull Day, National Cow Appreciation Day, or National Mojito Day.
Oh,
2 of them are good. 2 of them are correct. One is not. National Seagull Day, National Cow Appreciation Day, National Mojito Day.
I'm thinking it is the incorrect answer is National Seagull Day.
You're right.
I'm right. But you know what it also is?
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it is National 7-Eleven Day.
I did not know you did your research there. I'm glad I didn't use that.
See, yep. National 7-Eleven Day. So if you are out and about and listening to this on a podcast or something, even if it's not today, stop and get a Slurpee. I mean, Big Gulp, whatever.
Wait, isn't a Slurpee free today? Is that the deal?
Oh, I don't know. Is that what it said?
No,
I don't think it said that. But I mean, go in there and say to the person behind the counter, say, I was listening to the Tile Happy Hour and they said Slurpees are free today.
I'm pretty
Tell
sure
them Craig sent you.
Sure it is. And those are the days I don't go to do those because I'd rather give someone my $3 when it's not madness. People trying to get stuff for free.
Yes, yeah. And another caveat to the 7-Eleven Day. I mean, the Mega Millions I think is up to like $750 million. So between the Slurpees and lottery tickets, there may be a line at the 7-Eleven today.
You know what? That would be amazing.
I tell you, we do our podcast every day. If we had $750 million,
yeah,
my wife would. I don't know what we talk about, but we'd figure it out.
Well, you just may not see me ever again. That's highly likely.
Then my true the Where in the World is John Tedesco tune that we were singing 2 weeks ago may work. And you sent us a video last week. I did the little pre thing. I don't know if you had a chance to watch that. Just to kind of wish everybody a happy 4th and thank you.
I did see part of the show, and when you were talking with Rick about sustainability, it made me think of our live podcast at Coverings in Orlando.
Yeah.
And Andrea, was it? Andrea?
No,
Filippo. Yeah, Filippo.
Yeah, he talked for a good bit about their efforts in sustainability.
Yeah, the one thing that really stuck with me was, we didn't bring up really too much of the energy part of producing tile, the gas. I guess we did talk about that because I know
a little bit. Yeah.
Turmoil in Europe and the gas, but he made it really clear to us that yes, it takes a certain amount of energy, say, to get a tile kiln up to 2,200 degrees. But he said it's just for a short amount of time. Maybe he said 30 minutes, I believe. And to produce this tile, this product, that is made of clay, water, and fire, pretty much.
Yeah.
And he said that the lifespan of that product is really forever. So
That's the key to tile. You know, I don't know if you saw. I think I chopped that up into a short and put it out there that tile is one of the most sustainable materials because it can be. It'll last forever when installed correctly, and even once demoed, it can be completely recycled and made again.
Nothing, right? Carpet and LVT.
LVT, yeah, all that
not.
stuff is landfill add.
Wood is kind of, you know, I guess you can argue some points pro and con for the wood. But tile, I mean, it's really clay and water, right? And glazes and pigments fired. The lifespan of it is really forever, and you only have to rip it up. I mean, how many times you hear people talk about, oh, I have to do my bathroom because it leaked. It was 50 years old or 60 years old or 30 years old. What in your home lasts that long that you literally don't have to do anything to it?
Yeah. Right. What I always say to clients, customers, it'll ugly out before it fails. You know, and that's good for us because that means in the positions we're in, we get to sell more tile. But it is summertime, John. You know, you've been in the tile industry a long time. You've seen hot summers. What personally, give me one tip you would give somebody installing tile on a personal level and then on a technical level during the summer.
Well, depending on the type of product, but temperature control, you know, most of the products, certainly in the summer, you're not going to be installing anything outdoors. I mean, but there are not that I shouldn't say that. If you're doing a pool because you're in the Hamptons and you have you're renting, you're gonna want to rent it out for $10,000 a week, and you try to finish your pool. Sometimes you have to do some climate control, right? Like tents to mask the sun.
Absolutely,
and no expense is spared to do that. Also to protect it from rain. So so if you're doing something outside, you have to make sure you're doing it really early or doing it later, you know, in the afternoon.
And one of the biggest things for the personal health is hydration, you know, especially if you're doing stuff outside. And a lot of the, you know,
a lot of alcohol. Is that what you're saying?
Yes. Yeah. Well, we prefer water on the job sites. Okay. But even in high-rise buildings, when the tile goes in, the HVAC is not in, and you get a high-rise building with no moving air, you can dehydrate really quickly. So personally, that is a big thing.
Well, I'm actually on a project now in Long Beach, Long Island. They're building 3 towers, and we're providing 181,000 square feet of LVT plank tile, and they were just recently doing a mock-up of just like a test run, and the HVAC is not on yet. So they did a test, knowing that room's not even going to stay. It was just a test, just to see how it looks, because once they kick in that first place, the material is not acclimated, so you need to acclimate. So it was really cool. Each room has, you know, this set amount of LVT stacked up, the glue, the adhesive is in every room, multiple stories. You know, the tile guy's got it all together, really professional tile guy. And I'm like, what's up with the AC? You can't start this job because what happened? And he said, no, I know. This is just, we're waiting. But you know, if you
talk about voiding a warranty quick. You let the setting material of the LVT figure that out. You've got 180,000 square feet of stuff on the floor that nobody's going to warranty. Well, Roberto, good morning in Australia. Good to see you again. Glad you're here. I hope those porcelain countertops are going in well. One of the other things I was thinking about in the summertime, and Roberto, you tell us how your summers are down there, but in the down under, that's right, down under. I
don't think it's in the down under.
In the down under, it's just down under.
Tell me you're not from Australia without saying you're not from Australia.
That's right. But your setting materials and your drying times, those are the technical things that we always worried about when installing in the heat of the summer, because temperature matters. All of our materials that are put together, thin sets, grouts, and all that stuff, are tested for a nominal 72 degrees. But when it's 100 degrees and the air is hot and it's blowing, your stuff can skim over quick, and you can get you in trouble. So just some tips for summer
tell us,
installation.
what does skimming over mean?
Skimming over, what that means is how a mortar bonds to a tile is called mortar transfer. And if you have mortar on a wall or a substrate and it skims over, that top part of the mortar has got a skin on it. And so when you push your tile in, there's no mortar transfer. There's nothing that is holding the tile on. And I've seen a lot of failures where this has happened. Quick story, but this happened. A movie theater had the entire facade done in tile. This was a big tile job. This was out west, and this was one of my colleagues that I know from out west, and he told this story. And when they were applying the mortar to the building, the farmer was tilling the field next to it, and the wind blew the dust into the mortar before they could get the tile on it.
So it was compromised.
It was compromised, and after the first little shake of the building or cutting on the air, most of the facade fell off. None of it was bonded because it was coated. It was skimmed over with dust and this thing. And so you got to be really careful about the elements, who's working in your area. If you're working outside, many times we have tarped off an area or tinted an area because of the heat. So
well, when you say the transfer, so the adhesive, how does that technically happen? Does the moisture escape the glue, and then when it escapes, it sticks to the product?
Well, it's different. So a typical thin set mortar, is a cement-based material. So therefore, it's a mechanical bond. And the mechanical bond actually kind of grabs onto your tile with these little needles that as the water infiltrates, it hydrates, and these needles grab onto the tile and to the concrete and actually hold on to it mechanically. Now, if you're using a mastic or an epoxy, that's a chemical bond. So it's like glue. There's no mechanical. It's just stuck one or another. So that's what I was thinking
with the LVT product. It's more of that, right?
Yes, the LVT product, it's a chemical bond. And
I was amazed to see a dry set. Because my world has been tile my entire life, and luxury vinyl is only new to me in the last few years.
Sure.
And I've become quite involved in that world, and I have a lot of admiration and for the type of product and the applications where it needs to be used. But it was just so weird to see like put the glue down and then come back later and put the tile.
If you're doing some of the glues, you don't put it down wet. You let it skim over, and then you put it's a whole different process. They call
that a transfer, right? Like a transfer.
I don't know what they call it. That's
that was used on the job site. They were saying that they would pick up the tile later and touch it, and if it's sticky, it transferred over. And that's where I think the moisture escapes or something chemically happens, and now it transfers from substrate.
We need to get Jeremy on it, don't we? Getting him to explain that to us.
Yeah, we should do that.
Well, what else happens during the summer, John? I mean, a lot of public projects ramp up, a lot of other things, and then
schools, of course. Trying
to finish those before August.
Those deadlines are not negotiable, and
that's right.
And probably, I don't know what happens if they don't finish something. I'm sure there's significant job fines if you don't finish something today.
Absolutely, liquidated damages become a big deal, and I've seen stuff happen where contractors have had to pay for trailers to be put on site, and that's embarrassing for everybody. You don't want that to happen.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So there's a lot of projects in school buildings, repairs and tiles, things like that. If you're doing something outside in pools, you got to be really careful about the environment. And then indoors, crank up the AC, right?
That's
if you
it.
if you're doing a job and you're fortunate enough to be so on a tile, what about a porcelain tile? What's the range of temperatures, for a thin set that's acceptable? And then getting into the winter.
Winter that's an easier number. It is 55 and below. You should not. And that's for your substrate and therefore your tile also. So on either side.
So you're not talking about the temperature outside. You're talking about the temperature of the concrete.
Of the actual, yes, of the concrete. The air temperature doesn't matter as much, but it's the temperature of the concrete or the wood or whatever. When it gets into the heat, then 72 is kind of where they max it out. I think it kind of tops out in the 90s, and its stuff starts not working as advertised. Right. Not saying it won't work, but it won't work as well.
You may get a fail.
You may get a fail.
Yeah,
absolutely.
I was wondering if Craig Cahoon had a fail this week.
I do have a fail this week. I actually found this one, or it found me, as they always do, on I think it was YouTube, and it just goes back to technique. It's hard. Even if you know what you're doing, if you don't do it correctly, it's going to fail. If you don't know what you're doing, shame on you. You should learn, and there's plenty of places to teach. This is it. This is a place. Our company, TileBar, I think we do a good job of putting out stuff. And there's plenty of places around go to a Home Depot How to Tile 101. But this is one of those places, one of those things where it didn't happen.
Take a look at this. There's no coverage on the back of this tile.
If you're not using the right technique and the right trowel, the only thing that's holding your tile down is grace and gravity. Do it right, friends.
Oh my God. You could actually just scrape the grout off the edges, put that tile back in the box and return it. They'll never know you even tried to glue it there.
There's no coverage on the back of this tile.
If you're not using the right technique and the right trowel, because this the gives you thing that's holding your tile down. If you look at that, that's what the skimmed over thin set looks like. You see, there's no mortar transfer, so that kind of goes into what we were talking about. That they had installed that mortar and it had either dried out or they just kind of laid the tile in there and didn't push it down. But there was no mortar transfer, and when there's no mortar transfer, I mean, like I said, grace and gravity is the only thing that's holding that thing down.
And sometimes grout for a little bit.
Yeah. Grout sometimes is your biggest friend. Hey, TCNA and manufacturer specs. You're right, Tom. Following those.
Speaking of that, so that was a 12 by 24 porcelain.
Yep.
And I know you were just doing like a little drama there with your trowel, but the trowel you held up was not the proper trowel notch.
It was not, but it was the only one I had at my desk, John. But that's a good point.
Like an 1/8 of an inch square notch, maybe a 1/4 inch square.
It was a 1/4 by 1/4.
Quarter by quarter.
I think it's still here. That's
Let's see that. I want to see that video again. Let me look at that.
You see? Okay. Here we go.
I noticed that trowel was wrong.
Take a look at this. There's no coverage on the back of this tile.
If you're not using the right technique and the right trowel, the only thing that's holding your tile down is grace and gravity. Do it right, friends.
Oh my God!
Good catch there. That what trowel would you use for a 12 by 24? Tom, I'll ask you the same question.
1/4 by 3/8, 1/4 wide, 3/8 deep.
1/4 by 3/8. I think most tile. I don't know. I bet it's 50-50. That'd be a good poll question. Is what if you've been setting tile? You're a professional tile setter. What trowel is your most common used trowel for a 12 by 24?
Well, you know what? There's some leeway, right? Because you can get a bigger notch trowel and angle it more.
Yep.
to let less thin set through, right? If you're going to put it more towards a right angle, you're going to get more to come through.
Yeah.
So,
My recommendation for our team, and to I am always conservative. So my recommendation for that size tile is a 1/2 by 1/2.
Oh,
either
really?
U or square inch. Yeah.
Wow.
The 1/2 by 1/2, because all tiles are different. So all tiles are, some may have a bigger concave than other. And I want to make sure that if a novice is doing this, they've got enough mortar. Tom says 3/8 by 1/2. I didn't even know that was a need. Tom says everyone loves the 1/2 by 1/2, drives him nuts.
I thought that was a lot. Now, does it, I know you mentioned the tile, maybe if it's a little warped a little, but does it make a difference if a tile is like 9mm or 10mm or 12mm?
The actual thickness of the tile, no, that doesn't matter at all. Even a 2 cm porcelain paver can be set with, if it's 12 inch by 12 inch, 1/4 by 3/8.
My mindset was not that, and so I learned something today. I guess the only difference is you could overkill a little, because you are worried about thin set coming through the grout joints, right? So if you have a super thin tile, you got to be really careful about it not coming through the grout joints, because then that's just a pain in the ass. So if you have a 2 cm material and a little bit extra thin set, less risk, right, of it coming through the grout joints.
I would rather err on having too much thin set,
right,
than not enough, because then you have a failure.
You were talking about failures, right? I had an idea for a show. I want to talk about backsplashes in a future episode.
Okay.
I am a self-declared backsplash whisperer.
Oh, okay. Here's another one. Slap it down and drag your fingers through it. So that is, Daniel Shelton is sounds like a tile expert.
We're talking about tile right now, aren't we?
Expert device. Yeah, I guess easy, John.
It's a family show.
It's a family show, John. And yes, Tom, Barwalt. Actually, you can buy your Barwalt tools, TileBar.com. Just shop there, and we carry some of the most popular Barwalt tools.
Oh, I didn't know that our products were Barwalt.
They are. Yep, they're a good company. I don't know that they make all of their stuff, but at least they ship it from the U.S.
I know them to have really nice trowels with nice quality wood handles. Right, that's an option usually.
Yeah, they've got wood, and they've got a bunch of different steps. Like a novice, they've got the cheap stuff and
DIY little round handle that eventually
a throwaway is what I call them. Yeah, exactly. Throwaway. So tell me about your backsplash TV show.
No, I'm thinking a conversation here. I want to talk, not today, about kind of fails for backsplashes, because there are a lot of things that need to be discussed in a backsplash. And I've seen so many cringe-worthy backsplash applications. For example, how to end the tile, right? Metal bullnose. Yep. Okay, one thing. Where to end the tile. That's my biggest pet peeve. We're going to go over this in a future show. And we're going to get examples where to end the tile. Like if you have a run and there's some wall left in the door, where to end that tile. Also above the sink. Sometimes you have a window, right? And sometimes there's a couple inches of paint that goes up and around. Should that be paint or tile? Also, and I have very strong opinions on all these topics.
We should do, John. I think we should get a gallery of pictures together.
Yes.
We should get a gaggle.
What's a gaggle?
A gaggle's like a group.
Okay.
A quorum. I think a gaggle is a group of geese, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay.
But maybe we'll get a quorum with a couple.
I'm up here in New York. I never heard that word.
You don't have geese in New York?
No, I heard gaggle. That's like a hillbilly word.
Probably. But what we should do is get a couple of experienced tile setters and get them on with us, and we talk through it, the best way to do it.
Yeah, true. Another one we'll add to this is, you have a return wall, right? You have a long run, and then there's a return wall that is it painted? Is it tile? Is that a backsplash? Is it not the backsplash? Is that sidewall? And then outlets. Actually, I saw something recently that Latacrete posted talking about their product, which was really, and it happened to be a TileBar product. And I think I sent it to you. And it's our product. I think it's the division. I forget the name of it, but it's three-dimensional.
3D. I'm actually working on a video for how to do that right now.
Yeah, and what was interesting is the Latacrete post was talking about the setting material. It happened to have a TileBar product. It wasn't a completed job photo. It was like in progress. But the outlet covers weren't on yet, and I was just staring at those tiles, and I was staring at that outlet. I was like, how are they gonna, like, I want to see the finished picture because I'm not convinced that
it's that's exactly, obviously I get a lot of my video ideas from our client customers, and that's what I've gotten a lot of. So I actually just ordered probably 5 or 6 different 3D tiles, and I'm building a backsplash with an outlet, an in corner, and an out corner, and I'm gonna show different ways of finishing those.
Cool.
Now it's going to take me a minute to do it, but because there's so many different 3D tiles coming out now, and they look great. But yes, if you don't have a flat wall and you've got penetrations, and in corners aren't as bad as out corners, but if you don't know what you're doing, you can make it look like a hot mess.
Yeah. And also that you brought up something else, outlets, where do the outlets go? Obviously there's a standard spot, right? But you could also put it under counter, under the cabinets, and there's pros and cons to that. And I know some people that have some strong opinions on, outlets under the cabinets and the tile. I saw something recently. Hopefully I could find the picture where they painted the outlet cover to look like the tile. But the cover wasn't even curved. It was like flush with the tile. I don't even know how they did it. Hopefully I could find it.
Dan says he likes using my tools because they're less expensive.
So, folks, welcome to the Tile Happy Hours, John and Craig. We'd like to know where you guys are visiting from. So if you're watching our show, if you're watching on YouTube, there's a subscribe button. If you do subscribe, there's a little bell that gives you a notification when we go live. We are typically on Tuesdays at 8 o'clock, but you never know.
Who knows what you'll find.
Exactly. So definitely give us a like, follow us. If you're watching on any platform live, send us a little message. Tell us where you're watching from. If you're watching this after the show has already broadcast, I guess it's called the encore of the show, put a comment and we'll definitely reply back.
Dan says he's in my basement. Which is not true because I'm in North Carolina. We don't have basements in North Carolina. Well, John, you were in the office last week, so you were back. You were doing something there. You said nobody was there, so you were sneaking around with your camera.
This is true. So so when I do my product happy hour, typically have someone help me video it, but I was on my own. It was a summer afternoon, late afternoon, Friday at TileBar headquarters, and it was really hot out. And I was pretty much there with the cleaning crew, and a few people were there up in the upstairs in the headquarters, kind of wrapping up customer service. And I saw something really cool, and I wanted to share it with you.
Hey, it's John Frisco. Guess what? It's Friday and it's happy hour all day today at TileBar. I'm in Studio A. Everyone's gone. It's Friday afternoon, and I had this beautiful mock-ups going on of this mosaic. It's a hexagon, but it's white and gray. Okay, predictable, right? But with a beige tile, sounds a little strange, right? But you gotta come check this out. Really nice. There you go. What do you think? So white, gray, and beige, but the hexagon creates a diamond pattern. That's really unique. Now, we could also do it in a hexagon pattern. So hexagon tile, overall hexagon pattern. And there's other colorways you can't even see here, but you'll see the white, gray, and the black. But look at this. This is just classic, right? Just gray, white, and kind of darker gray. So you have Snow White, Carrera, Bardiglio, and that's in a diamond pattern. Really super nice stuff. Hey, it's going live soon. Check it out. This is John Tedisco. I'd like to wish you a happy hour.
I thought the tile was so cool. That hexagon in a diamond, like you don't initially pick up on that. You're like, wait, it's a kind of a diamond pattern, but the product, the chip size was chips were hexagons.
Yeah. What were the chip size? They looked like maybe
they were
1 by 1 or 2 by 2.
Were maximum 1 by 1, but I'm pretty sure they were 3/4.
Okay.
But it looked a little bigger than 3/4, so maybe.
I love those because they look like. I'm a big retro fan. I love that old look, and
it's timeless.
It is timeless, and I actually put that. I mean, a different pattern. I didn't have those cool patterns. All I had was the typical white with the black hexagon dot. Did that in my mom's when I renovated her master bathroom.
How'd that come out?
Oh, it came out wonderful. It's really cool. It's got it's a timeless look. It really is. And I think with the different designs they have, it just adds a little twist to that timeless look. Now, are those available and ready?
So, when we're doing photograph work and studio work, it's in stock, but there's a long process from being physically in stock in our warehouse to getting all the assets together, the videos, the photography. I'm not sure it's live.
Okay.
I actually haven't checked yet. Usually I'll tell people it's live on our website. Come check it out, order samples. I was there Friday. I didn't have the time.
Didn't have anybody to ask.
Yeah, usually there's a team there. I'm like, hey, is this live? And they look it up and like, yeah, it's live.
If you want that tile, you need to email you directly and you can get on the wait list.
Email me directly. Yeah, I actually did that once early on in doing my product highlights where I put something out there and I wasn't supposed to put it out there yet. And we were starting to get requests and management's like, what are you doing? You're like, this stuff's not live. People are asking for samples. And I'm like, so I was being really careful. But I've gotten the okay a few times from Ellie Shever, who's our product VP, right? She's great. And she's like, yeah, let's promote this now. So,
well, I heard a rumor today. Can you try to clear it up for me?
Yeah, sure.
I was talking with Priscilla, and Priscilla heads our brand department marketing. And she said that TileBar was one of the first distributors to put pictures on the website of the actual material. And I was thinking back to myself, well, how can that be true? Because everybody had websites, but maybe we were the first to kind of do them up, set them, and make them our own. Is that?
I haven't heard that specifically, but now reflecting back on the industry and reflecting back on, how technology has evolved. When I came on board with TileBar, there was many avenues I was looking at, many companies, and one of the 3 top reasons why I felt comfortable jumping to the TileBar team is, and what was and still is, our presence on the internet, particularly our website. Mm-hmm. Because when I visit architects and designers, like tomorrow I'm visiting a firm and making a presentation, new products, all that stuff is great. And then I'll see them again in 6 months or 2 months or, a year, depending on what's going on. So as far as their world, I'm there like 0.001% of their life, right?
You're right.
Where they are 100% of the time is online.
Absolutely.
And so you have a lot of people, particularly the newer generation of architects and designers, they're getting younger. I don't know how. Can't be me.
That's right.
And they're literally, you walk into these offices and they're just like behind computers picking out all this stuff. And
they're designing it before they even see it.
Exactly. And it's just amazing how important the technology is. And we invest so much. So yes, true. So we have style shots, which are pictures of the product with, coffee cups or glass of wine. We have
Right.
room shots, which are typically computer renderings that show a table with chair and shadows, which you couldn't even tell. And sometimes I still can't tell if they're real, right? So we have room shots, we have style shots. Then we have a 3D setup where, hundreds of thousands of dollars of equipment where we show tile in a 3D table and it turns and you can actually see the textures. You could see the
if it's 3D and see what the 3D actually looks like rather than a two-dimensional picture,
You know what I like, which I use a lot, and a lot of people may not use, especially if it's just a homeowner or someone not that familiar with tile. Sometimes we show the back of the product on our website, picture of the back of the product. And when somebody is adverse in an industry, like I think of the Antique Roadshow, right? You get someone brings a vase and the guy's he's looking at the bottom of it, right? Or he's looking at, it's like, oh, this couldn't have been made in Wales. This had to be made in Upper Guam because that little,
there's a
glaze that was dripped on the edge or something. So the same thing with tile. If I see the back of a tile, well, actually, I often get specifiers, architects, whatever, contractors send me, hey, can you get this tile, whatever. And I need to see the color, but I always need to see the back of the tile because I could probably tell what country it's made in without looking, because strangely enough, it doesn't even, most of the time it's not even stamped where it's made, like into the tile. I don't understand the laws on that.
It does. It depends. And I think the innovation side of our company is pretty amazing. And you brought something to me today that is a summer coming out. Is this a debutante party? What is
this is the coming out party of the summer. So every season we come up with a catalog. So here's a great testament to what we do at TileBar. We have the most absolute amazing website in the industry. And you would think, so we don't have to spend money on printing anything. That's that's so 1980, right? That's so 2000. That's so 2000. And we actually print the catalog too. It's kind of a handheld catalog. Maybe it's, I don't know, 6x9. And here's a page from it called the Bond Collection. And we show products that are already in the market that are hot, like this. So this is our summer collection. So this is a product that is already infiltrated into the market. It's a porcelain tile made in Italy. It kind of has a really nice,
pretty standard, concrete look, but with
some
color.
Yes, but where it shines, and pardon the pun, is a slight patina that is not at all hokey. It's really like a little gleam of a sheen. And so it's kind of like a slight polished concrete.
So it's like a semi-polished concrete look.
Yeah, so I wouldn't call it a semi-polished porcelain, because semi-polished porcelain definitely has a lot of shine to it, or fair amount. So kind of like a concrete that's been slightly hit and with a slight glimmer to it. And it comes in some great sizes: 24 by 48, 12 by 24s, some mosaics, all that stuff.
That looks like that's 24 by 48 in that room picture. That I'm assuming that's
24 by 48.
Render.
Could you ever visualize a 24 by 48 on a wall you can't do that in a brick pattern, right? 50%, because it's too.
If you could do it if it was thin gauge porcelain, you can't do it with a full body tile like a 9mm.
Because there's no way you can avoid lippage, right? If you
Correct. Yeah. So you'd have to do a third offset or something like that.
That's pretty cool. I mean, look at that, right? That's
a good look. I mean, that's a really good look.
I mean, that's about 6 feet high, so there's just a couple feet missing from the ceiling. Now, what about the cuts? How would you do that? Because that's 24 by 48.
You need a really big wet saw. I mean, there's a couple of ways you can do it. They make snap cutters that big now, which are crazy expensive. A bridge saw, which is just a wet saw that's on there. But I've seen a lot of people now that they have some of these handheld
Makita grinders, 4-inch grinders.
Makita grinders, but are like a skill saw, like a wooden skill saw that you can actually put on there and cut it that way.
Is there a guide, or you just by eye?
Well, you can do it by eye, but they do make guides for it, and if you can get a good cut, that is one of the questions I get a lot, is about these big tiles. And the key is cutting a big tile. Note this, everybody, put it in the comments below. Give me a thumbs up. You have to fully support the tile. If your tile saw is not big enough to lay it down completely, do not cut it. It will break. The weight of the tile is going to shift, and when you get about 2 inches from the edge, it's going to break. So
the weight, so there's no table to support it, so you need something to support it.
It's gotta be supported. I actually did a video about cutting large tiles, and I cut some by hand. I cut some with a saw, and I had one that it was hanging off the saw, and I was like, it'll be okay. It wasn't.
Yeah.
But when I cut it on the floor, fully supported, cut fine. And a lot of people think, well, it's the tile's too brittle. No, normally it's not.
Right.
Normally it's not.
I'd like to get your opinion on the layout here. So this is kind of like probably a rendering of some sort. And I'd like to pull the curtain back a little. So those tiles are 24 inches by 40 inches. So they're 2 feet tall, correct?
Mm-hmm.
And there's 3 tiles shown.
Yep. So you got six total feet shown.
So there's 2 feet left, which we conveniently left out of the picture because this really looks cool that there's 3 tiles. So there's another 2, 2, 4, 6. Oh, so another full tile. Oh, 8. So 4 full pieces up.
Yeah.
I was going to ask you about the cut. I didn't realize I was using some fuzzy math.
Well, yeah. You're a salesman, not a mathematician.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think I know where you're going. The key to this is, no matter what, your tile has to be level. But I guarantee,
what if you had a 9-foot ceiling? How would you do it? Would you put the cut on top, or would you split the bottom, like cut the bottom and the top to kind of make it even?
That's a design question. I'm not a designer, but for me, I would maybe make the bottom look like a piece of base and cut the bottom in, have a 9-inch cut on the bottom and stack it on top.
Oh, okay.
But you could, split the difference and cut it. The key is making sure that it's level, and your floor is not going to be level, and your ceiling's not going to be level. So that's where
what do you mean by, I'm not used to the word level on a wall. Like, what do you mean by that?
Yeah, like those lines that you're looking at, if they're not dead nuts level, I don't know if that's a Southern term or not, you're going to see it. But what you're not going to see or notice, you're not going to notice the floor being level. So you may have to scribe in the bottom or scribe in the top to make sure, because if your ceiling's off a 1/4 of an inch over 10 feet, it's going to be hard to see. But if that line is out of level in the middle at eye line, you will see that.
Yeah, that's true.
So that's why you have to, layout is critical. And any tile setter that starts from the floor and just tiles up without leveling, that first piece of tile is doing it wrong. And if you don't agree with me, give me a thumbs down in the comment, and then you're wrong.
Just give him a thumbs down anyway.
Tom, who's been setting tiles a long time, flat walls, level floor, level ceiling, square corners. That'll do it. That's the key. That's the key to a good installation. Those things right there. Thanks, Tom.
This is true. What else we got?
Let's see. That some lady.
So that's Angela Harris. She's one of our designers
okay.
that designed for TileBar. And wow. So what's in her hand is a kind of very rare,
like an 18-inch hex.
That's
that what that?
20-inch hex.
How much?
20-inch.
I was close. Now this is unique to me. I'm a contractor, so I'm not a designer, but I never knew the Dow Tile, Florida Tile, American Oleans of the world to have designers design tiles for them. And it may have happened, but I don't remember that being a thing. And is everybody doing that? Or are we just blazing the storm on that?
Back in the 80s or early 90s, Dow Tile did have a tile that was mimicking a wallpaper that was Oh my God, I forget the name of the designer. But in Italy, it's very common. You can absolutely, when I was importing my own product, I had a tile that was a Valentino tile. So in Italy and perhaps Spain, this is a Spanish tile, but in Italy, it is common for a factory to employ a well-known designer, say a clothing designer or furniture designer, and design a tile line. In this case, Angela Harris from the U.S., but this is a Spanish tile. What's nice about this tile, we talked about that last one, Bond, was a concrete look, but kind of a little modern, a little bit of patina. This is a concrete look also, but it's also like an aged concrete. Actually, there's
it reminds me of almost like a terracotta finish with a stain on it, but it kind of got that look to it. But that's really
and if you look, you see the size. So the 20-inch hex is really like unique. But then there's a 24 by 48, 24 by 24, and then you see standing up that light piece, 12 by 24. So this is great for a wall, great for a floor. This is a product we launched from Angela Harris, doing really well. And there you see the sizes there, right? Does that say 20-inch? Yeah, 20-inch hex.
Yeah, and it's the Flatiron collection, which just correct me if I'm wrong. Our showroom is in the Flatiron district of Manhattan.
Correct.
Look at me.
Yeah, you're like a New Yorker.
I am like a New Yorker. Hey, listen. Before we get too carried away.
You're trying to stump me.
Yeah.
I had 3 weeks to come up with something good here.
Yeah. So if you're listening and you want to jump in on this question, I'll read it slow for the tile setters out there.
Are you saying for you slow people out there?
I didn't mean that. For those people out there.
You just alienated our audience.
Probably much our entire audience. But this is a true question that came across my desk, and it is give you some context, and I'm going to read it slow. So hopefully, I know Tom probably know the answer. Rick, if you're listening, I know is going to know the answer. Dan, if you're still listening, you absolutely do not know the answer. But this is, and I'll read it to you. But there is something in the design, not the design world, but the architect world, called the CBC 803.13. I'm not going to ask you what that is because I didn't know what that is. But it is a fire classification for wall finishes. Okay. So I bet you know where I'm going with that if you're if you're listening in. So here's the question. Do ceramic tiles need to comply with CBC 803 or the flame spread index? Does it need to, and it's written weird, or does it need not to apply to ceramic tiles are fire resistant? That doesn't make any sense. But the true question is, let me know what you think. Do ceramic tiles need to comply with a CBC 803 or a flame, that's fire flame spread index? John, Tom, any questions out there as we talk through that? I know as you and let me give some more context. Sorry, John. My mom told me to tell you talk too much and you don't let me talk enough. Hey, Mom, I love you. When you're designing a building, obviously you want them to be safe. And a safe building is designed to give egress during a fire. So different walls have fire ratings. So a hallway is rated for, like, normally I think in North Carolina, it's like a 2-hour fire rating. So it'll take 2 hours for fire to burn through that wall system. So a lot of times when you're building in a commercial world, sometimes the architects ask if the tile, which will be on a wall or a floor, has a flame rating. So what would you say to that, John?
So it's not typical for the tile industry to test for it or publish those types of data. And we kind of just automatically assume, of course, because we know the tile is clay and we know that it's fired at 2000 degrees, that it can't burn, right? We're talking about ceramic or porcelain. So I think it applies, but it's not commonly asked because, whatever the building codes don't want to say, oh, but if it's tile, don't worry about it. Because what if it's some kind of product that's a hybrid product, which has porcelain and wood built into it? We actually have a line, a mosaic, that is a mosaic with porcelain, and there's also wood. So I think it would default to yes, but I don't get asked it often to produce that.
Tom, thanks for the answer. He said, I have no idea, but he's on the right direction. Is the 15 to 16 to 100 degrees. So, and I agree with you, John. They're not going to give an exclusion because tiles mean a lot of different things. But here is where, and I actually wrote a white paper on this for our team to submit when asked this question, because a lot of times architects, if they've got an intern or whatever, they're just going down their checklist. I need this for everything in the wall.
Good point.
But it's
test, like they'll ask, is this cigarette organic? Like somebody asking the wrong question for a product, like
exactly. Via cone. I don't know what that is, Tom, but I did some research on it just so that our team can speak intelligently. But the test to get the flame index only goes up to 750 degrees. So 750 degrees is not going to affect tile in any way to change its composition. It will not melt, or it will not, it may expand a little bit, but nothing that will cause it to fail, and definitely will not produce a flame.
And even if it's the most crude of tile, right? Could be a Zeely tile, clay made out in the backyard, baked in the sun. Yeah. It's still clay, and it's inherently not flammable. But I agree with you. What if someone wants to put something on the wall? Like, we have some products that aren't, not only we talked about the porcelain and the wood, but we also have some like peel and stick tile. We have LVT. We're supposed to be able to, hey, can I put LVT on the wall? And so I get it. So I think the answer is it applies, but it's never really asked for, not necessarily asked for.
And when they ask the question for ceramic tile, then the right answer is it's not applicable.
Right. Okay. So I really wasn't 100% right on that answer, though.
Yeah, you were close. You were close. Right, I'm gonna give you neither positive nor negative on that.
All right. Well, next week I want another tricky one. Hey, let's look at another product or two. This happy hour is going along, and actually I want to go to a product that is it's called. I think it's called. Let me see. I think it's in our. Let's see.
I'm just going to flip through while you're looking for the ones and just
just go through. So,
Australia's Roberto, if you're still watching, the Australia's collection. We bought that from down under. That's not true at all. I have no idea.
Pretty cool. Keep going. This is a new glass line that we have. Flicker, I think that's called. What is that called?
Yeah, Flicker. I actually installed that tile. Did a test on it. What works really great with that tile is our translucent. Either the Spectralock 1 or the Bostic Dimension Diamond.
How is that mounting? Is that a mesh?
It is a mesh mounted. Yep. And what's so cool about those translucent grouts is it pulls the color into the grout joint, so it looks very uniform. And sometimes it adds a little sparkle, and you need a little sparkle in. So
you're saying it kind of closes the gap?
Yeah.
Interesting. I didn't think of it that way. Let's flick through the rest here. Monet
looks like an art piece.
Yeah, really super nice. Wow. Parry, is this Parry? Parry collection. Yeah. So that's a really cool product. Rethink. It's just some nice matte porcelains, minimalistic. This is pretty cool. This has some metal in there, I believe. I just actually have a nice project I just did with that. Really nice. Let's see what else we got. I just got
art.
Project. Yeah, I just got my version of this in my hands today, so I'm just looking through this. It's called Wilder. Has a really nice pattern, 3 different colors. The blue is hot. So here's an example of this. Is really cool.
That's really neat looking. Yeah,
very nice.
It kind of has a wood terracotta.
Yeah,
limestone.
Which is more coming back more and more every day. The warm tones.
Kenridge, which I think has probably been our top seller for like the last 5 years.
Kenridge. So Kenridge started out with the maple and the gray.
Yeah.
Back up just a second there. So
There you go.
the second one and the two middle colors, the gray, just doesn't look really that nice in that picture.
Yeah.
And it was 24 by 48. It's kind of like a timbre look, like a wood look. That's very dimensional. And
It's really cool.
hey, Craig, I sent you a tech question on this product recently. So I had somebody doing a hotel and they wanted to put this tile on the floor. And what you can't see in this picture, there's real dimension there.
It's like ruffles.
Yeah, right.
It's got ridges.
Exactly. So so they're gonna put it on a floor, angle it so they can put a drain, and because it's porcelain, it's durable enough. Really cool. And then we introduced the black and the white. So
I was actually gonna buy this to when I did my outdoor kitchen, to put my outdoor kitchen. It was sold out, so I did not.
Where were you gonna put it vertically, like around?
I was gonna put it vertically around my outdoor kitchen.
You know what's a big fail, and I saw just someone post something recently. They're doing outdoor kitchens and barbecues, and they're putting like dark granite counters. And God, it's July, and you're like barbecue.
Oh gosh,
you put your arm down.
On fire. Oh gosh, yeah. Mine is my countertop is actually a thin gauge porcelain.
Oh, cool.
That looks like statuary Valentino.
That's cool. Yeah, so here we go. We're going back to some traditional looks. And look at the shape of that tile. So those are two shapes. One's kind of like an X, and the other one's kind of like a star.
It's like 1978 all over again.
Exactly. Take a look at the little line drawings. See in the bottom left there. You see that star pattern. You see the X pattern, and they interlock. You need to use both. They can't.
Right. You can't use them separately. I think I heard that question the other day.
Yeah. The only way you can use them separately is like with a hammer. Like if you want to just break it up in pieces.
I tried to do that one time with a floor, and my wife got really angry with me. She said, "You're just lazy. You don't want to install them." And she was right, but
this is new. This is a 4x18, maybe 4 or 5 inches wide. I'm not sure. And
wow,
dimensional.
That's got a lot of cool dimensions to it.
Tom's from the 4x4 era. Yeah. Let's define that era a little more. Are you a 4 1/4 guy or 4 3/8 guy? You know, we need.
Well, it depends on if you're Florida tile or you're American Olean.
Yeah, exactly.
Because I remember Tom. I know Tom remembers them too. I remember 4 3/8.
Wenzel was 4 3/8. U.S. Ceramic was 4 1/4. Romani 4 1/4. Dow wasn't Dow
4 1/4.
4 1/4. Really? Okay.
Mm-hmm. Florida was 4 3/8. But yeah, these are really cool. The dimension is cool, which is exactly why I'm doing that that installation video on how to cut these, how to install them correctly.
Yes, yeah, but look at when you put these tiles together.
It's amazing. It's cool. I mean, it's really neat. It's almost like, remember when they used to do extensive plaster work and
right, like Venetian plaster.
Yeah, that's kind of what it reminds me of.
Great colors.
And we're running out of time.
Yes, let's flip through the rest of these here. We got Drama, aptly named, right? Look at that, how dramatic.
Yeah, that does look like Drama. And Mancala, which is concrete, really cool terrazzo looking, critical to pre-seal before you grout, and then use a sealer afterwards. Tom is asking for questions. Did you say Wenzel tile?
Oh, I never heard of Wenzel. Wencel. Wenzel tile.
Wenzel.
Yeah.
Okay. I've never heard of it.
Really? Reef. Okay, we're gonna end with this one. So this is this is really cool. This is, I guess, a concrete base, I believe, with mother of pearl embedded into it.
Yeah, I haven't looked at this one. I don't know if it's concrete base, and those words are too small. I can't read them.
It's definitely mother of pearl embedded into terrazzo.
Into a terrazzo, whether it's concrete or epoxy.
Or resin or something. I think it's a concrete base. Really, really cool. Really cool. It has a lot of glimmer to it. Wall only, because that mother of pearl is a little delicate because it's just thin. Yeah. Wow. So, folks, this is just some of the TileBar summer collection. We have products coming out every week, literally multiple lines.
Yeah,
every week.
You can't keep up with it. There's really no way. Greetings from Panama. Yes, Buenos noches, I believe it is the time. You like that, huh? Don't see they teach us stuff down here in the South.
Yeah.
Even though he has in New York, I don't know what that WD, but greetings from Panama. Yeah, it's hard to keep up. I mean, when I started here, I think we had 2,000 SKUs. Now I think we're up to like 3,600 SKUs. And,
you know what? I'm in the sales world, and just like the fishermen, I'm telling people we have 6,000 SKUs. I don't know what's right anymore.
It grows every day. I don't
exactly.
know. I know anytime I bring a product on, they're like, well, you got to wait till we get our products out. I'm like, well, if I have to wait on you, I'll never get anything out.
Well, I do believe it's more than less, because our new warehouse that's being put together now is, I believe it's 500,000 square feet. I believe the
correct.
Ceiling height under the beams is 38 feet high, and it's going to be narrow aisle. Just think how many freaking pallets we're going to get in there.
That's a lot. I was in New Jersey not too long ago, and I wanted to say they're unloading 300 containers a week.
That's crazy.
That's just nuts.
And that's just my sales. So it's amazing.
That's right. I do need to borrow money from you. Is really where this conversation needs to go. Yes, Tom, my head exploded also. And hey, if you're out there watching and you want a copy of this new book, I don't know that they're all online yet. They may not be. They may be.
So if you go to our website, Craig, you can definitely download this catalog. If you want a physical one, just reach out to your TileBar rep. If you don't have a TileBar rep, just put a message in anywhere where you're watching this in the comments, and we'll get you a local rep to reach out, or reach out to me directly.
If John gets your message and you want a catalog, John will send you a catalog personally, and he'll even sign it.
I'm gonna have to talk to my agent about that, but okay, all right, I'll do it.
But John,
since you committed us, Craig. You committed.
Yeah, that's okay. I've got some. Hey, you can always throw in the.
Yes,
the swag.
Now, over the weekend I used those John and Craig coasters, and I have to say they suck, because they
bend up, don't they?
Yeah, well, you get a little moisture on them, yes, and they're like warping like crazy.
Yeah, I use mine every day because I actually have them on my desk.
All right, cool.
And one of them I had to throw away.
All right, so yeah, I'll sign it, and I'll even send the coaster if you want. So everybody, this is John Disco. This is the Tile Happy Hour with my co-host Craig Cahoon, who is a tile guru, tile installation technical director of TileBar, mad scientist, and we're going to see a lot of cool things happening, and he's a little bit country as well. I'm here in New York. I'm glad to be co-host of this Tile Happy Hour, and I just like to wish everybody peace, health, and happiness.
And John, as we say goodbye, we got good things coming up. You don't want to miss an episode. If you do miss one, they're always on our channels, the Tile Channel and Tile the World. John, thanks for that. I am a little bit country. You're a little bit rock and roll. Down south, don't forget, always keep learning. Let's grow together and tile.